Hello, I'm taking a break from my VGSF videos and doing a book haul video. Rather than doing a current book haul, I'm going to cover some of the books that I bought from a charity shop back in February and March. Basically, that charity shop had a massive donation from a collector, I'm guessing in the region of 600 books. The charity shop normally price their books at £3, although they did have a range from £2.49 to £4.99. The charity shop, when I first found that collection, tempted me to buy 60 or 70 at full price, and then I sort of went back to check for new additions to the shelves, but I hung around and eventually they did a sale and I bought quite a lot in the sale. What I'm going to, rather than show you the books that I got, I'm going to show you the books that were left after I compared with my copy and decided which one to keep. So in other videos you will have seen me piling things to my left. Basically this is a pile of trays with duplicate copies, and I'm going to go through the top tray, which is largely filled with duplicates from this February and March purchase. Overall I think I bought approaching half of that total donation, so I bought probably 280 books in total, and because of the sale overall I probably paid, I don't know, £380, £400, so generally it was a good buy. I'm going to start with Perry Rhodan first of all. Now, I'd never really considered collecting Perry Rhodan. I've never read one, but I think about 20 years ago I was at a car boot and someone had the first 39 in the Futura and Orbit editions, so that's the UK editions. The condition was not great, most were only good, they'd all been read, but £5 for 39 I thought was good, and I thought it would give me a chance to read them. But basically I never got round to reading them, and they ended up in a box on the top of a wall, on top of a bookcase, if you like, out of sight, out of mind. When I went to this charity shop I bought a few, and I'll explain. Basically I've always collected doubles, and some of the Perry Rhodans were doubles, so I bought all of those at full price, but then I waited and waited, and most of the rest I bought at 49p each. I thought that was worthwhile. The ones I bought, probably 2/3 were fine or near fine, and a few slightly less good. And basically now, having bought this collection, I'm missing about 8. Now I'm not going to show you all the Perry Rhodans. The other ones that I did buy at full price because I'd never seen before, and I'll show you those, were the two hardbacks, or two UK hardbacks. That was the first one, Perry Rhodan 1, and this does seem to be uncommon. And Perry Rhodan number 2, the Radiant Dome. Condition generally very nice, a little bit of wear on the dust jacket, generally nice books. I think I paid £4 each for those. Because I'd never seen them, I thought I would take a chance on them. The other nice buy that I did pay a higher price for was number 137, which was combined with the first 5, and let me just check, of the Starman books. So this was a sort of trade paperback volume by Masters, and is quite uncommon. And I also bought sorry, let me just check, Starman 6 to 11, that was published in another trade paperback, and those are quite rare and quite collectible, and they were very good to near fine, so that was a nice buy. I'm not going to show them to you because they're back on top of a bookcase, and I don't want to sort of get up on chairs and try and lift them down. I mean, the other thing, so basically, as I said, I had numbers 1 to 39. Whoever had been collecting them hadn't got any of those, and basically had Ace paperbacks from I think number 43 through, and 1 or 2 possibly got bought at full price when I wasn't tempted to buy. I must admit as well, I'd never seen the pamphlet style ones by Masters Publications. So that was numbers 119 to 136. So I was pleased to get those, and for some reason there was one missing, so maybe someone had bought that. I'll now show you the ones quickly that I ended up replacing. There's only 7, I think, because I never had many. And this is Perry number 100, which is easily the most available. I've seen it many times. This one's got a remainder hole. It's a Plus Books shop stamp, not very good condition, and as I say, very common one. I've got 5 doubles. Now, most of these I would describe as good, or perhaps at best very good. You know, they've got labels on, remainder holes, label tears, and basically those I bought cheaply over the years because I like to collect all doubles, and so none of these are worth very much, but they're the ones I upgraded from this collection. The only nice one, this was one I had, number 64, probably very good plus, a nice copy, and that completes the spares I've now got of Perry Rhodan. So I'll carry on with some others in this tray came from that collection. Start with Paul Edwin Zimmer, The Lost Prince. Now this is an Ace paperback, and it has a remainder hole in the cover. And this one, number 2, which is a Berkeley paperback. I believe there were 4 in the series. I notice I've retained 2 Playboy copies of these books, so I assume the Playboy editions were the first, but I must admit I haven't checked for this video. So those are 2 duplicates again in my tray. Carrying on, this one, the next one, I paid 49p for. I wouldn't have paid more because it's got a massive crease on the front cover, but a 49p seems sensible. I don't know whether you can see the crease, but it runs all the way down there. The Gods of Bal-Sagoth by Robert E. Howard. There are a few Robert E. Howards in the collection, and I bought several of those. some of which I haven't got around to comparing yet with my original copy. So at some point there will be some more Robert E. Howards, but I haven't got round to that yet. Another one I bought was this. Now I think I've got 3 Conans, so I'll get the other 2 ready. This one was part of a series of 6, and I believe there may have been 7. This one has a horrible crease down the spine, and the spine is on the verge of cracking, or perhaps you would say is cracked. So not an ideal copy. I didn't have this before, but after buying this, I upgraded by buying this book from Dorset Bob. So this now ended up in my spares. Right, carrying on, I'll show you the other 2 Conans. Again, not the greatest of condition. These are the sphere ones. Conan the Freebooter, number 5 in that series. It's got a little bit of loss on the spine, a little bit of wear at the bottom, sorry. So not the greatest condition. And number 6, Conan of Cimmeria. Generally nice, though a slight crease on the cover. And that I did get more Conans, but those were the only duplicates, or ones that were duplicated in my collection. Carrying on, I will next cover this set. Now I did buy quite a few doors in that collection. I've put this lot in the tray because these are all reprints. Most of the doors that I bought were first printings, but these reprints. So I'll show you. Basically, Under the Green Star, number 30. And this was a 4th printing. Sorry for terms of the light. It's got a couple of small creases, so not a perfect copy. And that was door number 30. And although it was a reprint, it retained the door number on the cover. Second one in the series, door 62, and again this is a reprint. This one is a 3rd reprint. Again, little crease at the top, so not perfect, and little creases here on the back, so not perfect. The 3rd one, By the Light of the Green Star. This one is in lovely condition. And this is a 4th printing. The 4th book, As the Green Star Rises. Again, a 4th printing. Finally, the 5th book. Again, a 4th printing. Again, really nice condition. This one didn't have the original door number. It has a UW number in the box. For those who aren't aware, and I can't swear to this because I've never seen it actually reported, as far as I know, every time a door book was reprinted, it was allocated a UW number or a UY number, and possibly 1 or 2 other letters. So, for example, if I go back to number 30, this was UY 1185. So what I think that means, but I won't swear to that, is this was the 185th print run by Dore. So it was number 30 because it was was it third or fourth printing. It was actually the 185th book that they printed. So just to remind you, here they are. The colour of the doors that I bought did vary. So obviously whoever bought them had the problem that many people have of trying to get nice yellow spines. That covers the American printings. So the remaining books are all going to be English printings. One of the things I did get, the number of books by Piers Anthony, and I had 3 English printings of these. So the Cluster Series, Volume 2, Chaining the Lady. A little bit of wear, some light spine creasing, so about VG. Not better. The next one, Faith of Tarot. Lovely condition, I can't see any obvious faults with it. And it appears to be the first Granada printing. So a lovely copy of that book. Next, Piers Anthony, Rings of Ice. Some very faint creasing down the bottom of the front cover. But generally a very nice copy. And a first Fontana printing. Now can I say I'm not currently selling anywhere, but all of these are potentially available. I was thinking of trying to set my wife up on eBay to sell a few, but I haven't got around to that. Carrying on is this series, the Hook series. Now I'm not sure if anyone would actually bother collecting these. I know nothing about them, I've never read them. That's the number 1. That is number 2. This is number 3. And number 4. This one has a long crease down the front cover, but basically none of them are particularly great condition. Perfectly okay as reading copies. They got spine creases, 1 or 2 minor cover creases, so I'd be quite happy to get rid of these for £2. Normally I wouldn't have bothered upgrading these, but given that I managed to get the 4 for 49p each, I thought it was worth an upgrade. Right, all the remaining books are Michael Moorcock's, and initially my duplicates are all English editions, though I will show you some others at the end. What can I say about Michael Moorcock? I have only ever read 3 books of his. I read the Dancers at the End of Time series, and it's often said the sort of first book you read, or books you read by an author, give you an impression which tends to stick. I think when I read those, and that was at least 20 years ago and probably a bit more, I got the impression he was a powerful writer, but the plot and the story of those 3 books did nothing for me. I felt once I finished them, I thought, what a waste of time. Now, I know some people really like Michael Moorcock. Some aren't that keen. In some ways, given the views I've heard over the years, I'd almost describe him as a Marmite author. Some people love him, some don't. I could tell he was a powerful writer, but the ones I read did nothing for me. I obviously still collected him, but I must admit I never went out of my way to collect him. So I'll run through the ones that I can show you. Also, basically, because he wasn't one of my favourite authors, I kept him in all his paperbacks in a box on top of a bookcase, like the Perry Rhodans. So I had about 4 or 5 that I picked up cheap over the years. And so it's 1 or 2 of these may be ones that I'd had for some time rather than from this shop, but the vast majority came from the shop. And the vast majority I paid 49p for, because generally I've not bothered to upgrade Michael Moorcock if it's been in any way expensive. So this one, Von Beck. Now these are reprinted many times. This looks to be a first millennium edition. A little bit of a cover lost top corner. So getting on for very good. And the other one in this series I've got this one, Sailing to Utopia. As you can see, a little bit of a crease at the top. Well, it looks as though it's probably been dropped at some time. A little bit of a mark there. And a light spine crease. So, not quite VG. Now, all I can say about the Eternal Champion is, again, many years ago when one of the shops I used to visit used to be reasonably priced, I bought the full set of hardbacks in this series. And I remember they cost me £100. I negotiated the price down. And I was very pleased with those. So anyway, those are the 2. This one is an Orion edition, so I'm assuming it's a reprint. Actually, I can't tell. It might be a first, I don't know. Anyway, those are the 2 from that series. Now, if the rest are in series, I'm not going to be able to tell you. This one says it's the 2nd volume of the Chronicles of Castle Brass. Champion of Garathorn. Is that Garathorm? A very good copy. And a reprint. And the 3rd book in that series, Quest for Tanilorn. This has a crease here. And is a reprint. Can I say, probably half the Moorcocks that I bought from the shop will be in this tray, but perhaps the other half, or a third perhaps, are the ones that I upgraded. Oh, apparently I had the trilogy. This is the 1st book of Count Brass. very light crease down the bottom, light spine crease. And a reprint. So that's the set, I think that was just 3. That's the set of Count Brass in reprint editions. Next one is this, Gloriana. It has light spine crease, some creasing to the corners, so a good copy, not brilliant. Carrying on, the Land Leviathan, a quartet edition. It looks as though it's the first printing. A little corner crease down the bottom. So not a bad copy, but not perfect. The Time Dweller. A little bit of wear, a little bit of creasing on the back cover, and a reprint. The Rituals of Infinity. An Arrow book. A little bit of edge wear, but basically a very nice copy. And a reprint. What you can say about Michael Moorcock is he's been reprinted many, many times. So obviously there is quite a fair demand for his books. This one, The Hollow Lands, which is Mayflower. Looks to be a first printing. Has quite a bad crease down here. Next, The Bull and the Spear, a quartet paperback, and that is a reprint. Carry on. As I say, these are all duplicates, and I'd be quite happy to sell, but I'm not currently selling. Next one, Masters of the Pit. That's a Nell paperback. So it's a new edition. So it's the first, presumably, in this edition. Whether the cover is different, I don't know, to the original. City of the Beasts. A New English Library, now edition. Again, the first of a new edition. Again, I do not know offhand whether the cover has changed from the first one. Next, The Lord of the Spiders. Very nice copy, very good. Again, the first as this new edition. So those books were all new edition books. Then Breakfast in the Ruins. Again, a new edition, New English Library one. Little bit of wear at the bottom of the spine, but otherwise generally very nice condition. Carrying on, The Shores of Death. This is a Mayflower. And it is a reprint. This one, Moorcock. An Alien Heat. This is a Mayflower edition. A tiny bit of wear on the spine. Generally a very nice copy and a reprint. The Winds of Limbo. Another Mayflower. And a reprint. The Chinese Agent. It's the Mayflower Granada. And looks to be well, it was copyrighted in 1970 and published by Mayflower in 1979, so maybe it's the first, or maybe just the first as such, I don't know. Next one, Phoenix in Obsidian. Another Mayflower. Quite a strong crease in the bottom corner, otherwise a nice copy. And a reprint. The Warlord of the Air Quartet. It was first published by New English Library, but it looks to be the first as a quartet publication. Only a few more to go. This one, The End of All Songs. A reprint, Granada book, has a crease at the top corner, otherwise a nice copy. Next one, The Lives and Times of Jerry Cornelius. This is a Futura publication and looks to be a first as such. Generally a very nice copy. Well, there is a slight spine crease, but otherwise, alright, and very slight corner crease, but otherwise a very nice copy. Next, The Singing Citadel, Mayflower, and it's a reprint. Next, The Oak and the Ram Quartet. Looks to be a first. Next, The Knight of the Swords. Says it's the first book of Quorum. Again, a Mayflower. Very, very nice copy. And it's a reprint. The Sailor on the Seas of Fate. It is a Granada paperback. Says first published by Quartet. So I'm assuming this is a new edition. Next, The End of All Songs. Final volume in the Dancers at the End of Time trilogy. And it's a reprint. A Granada, a bit of wear on the spine and a corner crease, but otherwise a reasonable copy. And lastly, Breakfast in the Ruins. This is a New English Library. It's got a spine crease, a bit of rub into the edges of the spine. And it appears to be the first Nell paperback. That completes the English Moorcocks that I have as duplicates. So as I say, at some stage I plan to sell them. When I will get around to that, or my wife will get around to that, I don't know. Now, those that I've shown you, unless it was one I already had, were the result of buying that book or that title at 49p. So I thought it was worth buying in order to upgrade, or at least give it a chance of an upgrade. I think there were a couple that I didn't have that I've added into my collection, but to actually go back and check which ones they were and then to get them out with more effort than I want to put in. But after I bought all of those, what I hadn't realised was the shop had another lot to put out. So they kept half the donation or quarter of the donation in the back office. So I'll now show you the other Moorcocks that I bought. These I know I didn't have, and I haven't yet decided where I'm going to keep them, but I will show them. If anything, they're slightly more, or some of them are slightly more valuable. This one, The Brothel in the Rosenstrasse. It's a New English Library. It's a trade paperback size, so larger than normal. And I remember this one, I'm in an RM, but this one I bought at 99p. I haven't got it. I don't particularly like trade paperback size, but as I hadn't got it, I thought I should get it. Next, I'm going to go through, let me just sort them. 3 Savoy publications. Now I must admit I probably have seen them, but I never really took any notice of them. So this one, Moorcock, the Russian Intelligence. And these I did pay a bit more for. They wouldn't agree a 49p on these. Another Savoy one, probably the more common or most common one of the Savoys, is this one, the Golden Barge. So these were all very nice condition. This one got a slight bump at the top of the spine, but otherwise is really, really nice. And the last Savoy paperback, My Experiences in the Third World War. Now I know some people collect Savoy editions. I've never bothered, but I was somewhat surprised to see these, and I thought I'm not likely to see them again, so they were worth buying. Next one I'll show you, which again I have seen from time to time, is this one, Sojan. Oh, sorry, this one is also Savoy books. Sorry, I hadn't realised that. So, again, pretty much mint condition. So again, I was pleased to get that. Another one which I haven't seen for years, I think I had seen it before, is this one. The Jade Man's Eyes. Unicorn Bookshop, Brighton and Seattle. I know very little about this, but it is basically in fine condition. I did see another booktuber saying, reckon this is worth £40, and this is an immaculate copy. So again, a very good buy. Finally, one which is, let me just adjust this. Oh, come on. Right, the last one that I bought from this shop is this one, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle. Absolutely mint condition, brilliant white pages, a virgin publication. As far as I can tell, there was also a newspaper version of this, but in nice condition. Either copy is definitely worth £40 plus, and as this was so immaculate, possibly even 80. So a very good buy. And that completes the books I bought from this charity shop. I will show you one other Michael Moorcock that I bought earlier this year. I don't exactly remember when. I do vaguely remember I paid £4 for it. And maybe I will actually get to read this now. And that is Elric of Menibene. A first printing. I don't know whether there were multiple printings in this edition. I know everyone tends to reckon that Elric is his most popular and possibly his best set of books. I never had a full set to use as a reading copy, so I never got around to reading that. Instead, I chose The Dancers at the End of Time, which created an impression that I never really lost because I didn't read anything else. So I might use this to read Elric for the first time. But as I say, I already have a copy of this, but I hadn't read it. So that was a useful purchase. And that completes my first book haul on my buys from that charity shop. Whether I will do some more, I don't know. Paul Cooper signing off.